All right, so as far as the Toronto Maple Leafs conversation goes right now, it is clear that this Matt Murray-Ilya Samsonov tandem is not working. A lot of people at the beginning of the season who were looking at this and saying, ooh, that looks a little shaky, seem to be proven right so far. Now, again, with Matt Murray, the play, yes, it was, you're wondering, like, well, what do we got here? But more than that, the injuries. And now, with this reason, I think it's a groin injury for Matt Murray. Man, does this look dire for the Leafs. And Samsonov, like, I think he could be a decent backup, but nowhere near a starter or what he has to do right now for the biggest pressure cooker in all of hockey. It's not going to work here with Samsonov. They're going to need to make a trade, and in my opinion, a pretty sizable one to get a decent goaltender. Like, to get a good goalie in season, you got to give up quite a bit. Like, sometimes there's people who get lucky. There's like the Minnesota Wild with Devin Dubnyk out of nowhere. He comes in there, he saves their season. Like, it happens. Sometimes a fluke happens. Binnington in St. Louis. It happens on occasion, but it is so rare. If you want a good goalie, you're going to need to make a really good trade, and it's going to need to be on a rebuilding team. Something like Jake Allen in Montreal. Now, I know a Montreal-Toronto trade is, look, I know they're in the same division, they're rivals, it's rare. I had people tell me a little while ago that, in divisional trades never happen. That is so not true. It happens all the time. Guys get traded within their division, even to rivals. Like, there's been a handful recently of Flames Oilers trade. There's been some stuff. Remember Thomas Plekanec going to the Leafs a few years back? It happens, man. I'm telling you it does. So don't throw that at me. It definitely does. Absolutely, Jake Allen would be a guy that if I'm Toronto, I'm looking at here, especially in season, Montreal rebuilding team. They could roll with Primo and Montembeault. I know he just re-signed with the Montreal Canadiens, Jake Allen did, but that's something that absolutely needs to be looked at. And if not that, there's other options like that. You got to go to a bottom-of-the-barrel type team who's trying to rebuild and lose hard for Bedard, and that's where you get your goalie if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm sure they're exhausting their options, but you're going to have to give up a pretty penny. Like, there's no dancing around. You're going to have to give up something good, and I'm seeing articles on thehockeywriters.com. I heard Elliot Friedman talk about it on 32 Thoughts. It's picking up steam that whether it's a goalie or a defenseman, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to make a sizable trade, especially if they come out here like Sheldon Keefe the other day against Montreal. He called that loss unacceptable after everything they've been through as a team. Like, at some point, they're going to have to make a shakeup, and Dubas knows that this year, if he doesn't make it past the first round, good luck keeping your job, Kyle. Seriously. Same thing goes for you, Keefe. Like, they know that they have to make a run this year, and if they have to make moves in season in order to improve their chances at going deeper, then that's what they got to do. Like, if they got to trade a guy like Nylander mid-season for a really good defenseman, that's what you got to do, man. Especially if you feel like a guy like Nick Robertson, for example, or even Matthew Nyes could come up and play and spot Nylander's production. That's something you look at, right? Or even a good chunk of it. That's definitely something that gets looked at. I absolutely think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to look at somebody like Nylander or even like Nyes or like Robertson in a trade to get help on defense or in net. I think that's absolutely what's going to come for the Leafs here, because they need to make a big move, if not a couple big moves, because to me, look, they don't look bad by any means, but man, do they not look like contenders. And I know we're only a couple of games in. I know, give me the whole spiel about beginning of the season, blah, blah, blah. Look, by American Thanksgiving, that lets you know who the serious teams are and who the pretenders are. You know by American Thanksgiving, which is in just about over a month here. So to me, the Toronto Maple Leafs need to get their game in order. I know there's some exceptions like St. Louis when they won the Cup in 2019. They were like one of the worst teams in the league until January. Then they just went haywire. But you need to find consistency as a team, especially this team who's had so much disappointment here. You need to find balance. You need to find your strengths and play to them. And it can't just be a hockey derby every single game. Like, the scores can't just be Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, please save us. Sorry, we're losing 2-3 nothing. Oopsie. No, you need to have balance. You can't just outscore your problems all the time, especially not in the playoffs. You'd think they would have learned by now because, that's burned them in the past big time. That's just what it is. Like when Montreal beat them in the first round a couple of years ago, it wasn't because Montreal outscored them by having a bunch of uber talented forwards who could skate circles around them and score a bunch of goals. No, it was grinders, guys who got their noses dirty, who came in clutch, who were ready to play both sides of the ice. Okay, so that's what the Toronto Maple Leafs need. That's why I'm convinced a big trade or multiple sizable trades are going to come for the Toronto Maple Leafs relatively soon here, especially if they look meh. Like, even if they win a few games like they did on Saturday night, they looked meh at best here. Like, something's got to give here. This is not going to fly after another first-round exit last year. Something's going to give, and it's going to be relatively soon, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. As usual, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.